Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from Strata Hadoop World in San Jose. I'm here with Ben Werther. Ben, how you doing?
Very good, Mike. Great to be here.
So you're with Platfora.
Yes, indeed.
And what's up with you guys now here at this show? Is there any news that you'd like to talk about or anything new? Or?
Absolutely. Well, at Platfora, we're really leading this transition from classic business intelligence to the new world of big data analytics. So enabling regular business analysts to make sense of this growing amount of transactions, customer interactions, machine data, the explosion of this data, and the new kinds of questions on a Hadoop foundation. So really enabling almost instant insight for regular people to make sense of this and iterate and answer questions really fast. And
so is the classic model SQL on some machine sitting somewhere? Is that?
Yeah, the classic model is, we'll talk about some of the examples. Classic model is really an approach where the approach we've been taking for 15 or 20 years of you get a lot of IT people in the mix, they model things out, they build data marts, they build aggregates, they make big data small so that you can use BI tools designed for a relatively small amount of data. And at Platfora, we take a very different approach, kind of radically different. We've been at it for almost 4 years in building this new end-to-end stack that's native for Hadoop. It's built in layers on top of a Hadoop foundation from Cloudera, Hortonworks, MapR, etc. And it enables business users in just a day or two to be, essentially able to access the entire data lake, to visually, in a kind of Tableau-like way, make sense of data, but without the IT intervention. And so, what we're talking about is, in the last year, 2014, it was a fantastic year for us. We saw 210% year-over-year growth. We tripled the number of Global 2000 customers. We're seeing just a general maturation of Hadoop as a platform now, where, a year ago, if I would have asked a CIO about their data lake strategy, 7 out of 10 would have said, what is
the
that?
Data lake? Yeah.
And today, it's interesting, even the most conservative CIOs I talk to will want to tell me about their data lake strategy and where they are on that journey. They may be really early, but they're all aspirationally understand that trying to do this stuff the old way is too expensive, it's too cumbersome, it's too IT intensive, and if they're going to be successful as a company and also in their own careers, they need to enable the business to unlock value from this data directly.
So, Oracle just made an announcement recently. What do you think of where they're going and what they're doing?
Well, we're actually pretty excited by this. It's interesting. We've been out championing this idea of building a native stack that's designed for the business analyst, one solution that really provides that end-to-end capability against the data lake. And we've proven again and again with customers like Citi and JP Morgan and Cox Automotive and Disney and on and on. The difference is you can do things in a day or two versus months of IT work. But still, there's a lot of people who are grounded in familiarity with the old practices. BI companies like Tableau and MicroStrategy and others that want to turn everything into a data source for the familiar, make big data small approach. Data warehouse vendors that want to do all this IT work to get it ready. And so it's interesting that Oracle, who's not necessarily been at the frontier of big data, we came to learn of this project that Thomas Kurian, the president, had initiated internally, kind of this 200-person effort to really kind of jumpstart them in the seriousness in the big data space. And so this is an effort to build a Hadoop native data discovery product that's very analogous to Platfora, very much the same messaging around one product, direct, rapid time to value. And so we're excited that, this is it's now a two-horse race, us and Oracle. We are doing something different than the rest of the marketplace out there. Now, we've been doing this stuff for 4 years. They're new to market, so they have to prove that that retreading Endeca and putting a new face on it is going to get there. That's a question mark.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, we're much more excited that this is now Oracle leaning in on where the future is, and the future is what we've been sort of championing for the last 4 years, and we're thrilled to be part of shaping this.
Yes. So you've mentioned end-to-end a couple times.
Yeah.
Can you explain what end-to-end means?
Yeah.
And because if you're just one slice of a stack,
yes.
Now, I'm not saying you are, but if you're one slice, your end-to-end is a small
No, exactly.
small components. So,
Exactly.
what is end-to-end to Platfora?
So what end-to-end means in this context is, so if you think about a business analyst, not a data scientist, not a developer, but a regular person who's trying to understand questions about customer behavior or cybersecurity or Internet of Things devices, etc. They sit down in front of a web browser on a computer. Somewhere there's a Hadoop cluster where there's masses of raw data being landed in files, by the terabytes or petabytes. And so they're trying to figure out how do they get value from that. And, the old way of getting value from that is they basically can't do anything until they call up IT. IT goes and shrinks things down. Maybe they pull something out into a data mart. Maybe they go in and shrink things down so that a SQL on Hadoop interface might work against that data. So it's been pre-distilled, it's been structured, it's been shrunk to a size where it's queryable, and now you can plug a BI tool in and kind of work with it. But the problem in that model is as soon as you now want to ask your next question, we talk about the 5 whys to get to root cause. The second question, you want to now take that group of people you found and pivot now, see how do they behave in social, or let's understand their engagement on a clickstream kind of perspective. You now break what you've rebuilt out, you're back to IT, and you're waiting months and months and months for the next thing to be built out, and it's all very, very labor intensive. So end-to-end says that's not good enough. End-to-end is about saying you need one platform that goes all the way from the user sitting there in their web browser all the way back to the raw data in Hadoop. And for us, what that means is kind of these 3 layers seamlessly woven together. The lowest level, it's automatically doing data catalog of the data that's in Hadoop, a visual data catalog of everything you have there, data wrangling and preparation, so you can do transformation, you can do cleanup, you can sort of understand the structure of your data, analogous to a Trifactor or a Paxata or a data mirror type product. But do that now as part of the solution where as you decide this data that's interesting, it's able to automatically drive jobs to Hadoop and accelerate the data that you care about into a scale-out in-memory layer that makes it sub-second interactive super fast. And then you have this sort of Tableau-like, but for big data, visual experience for now interacting and working with that data. So you can sit down as a business user at your desktop against a new Hadoop cluster you've never seen before, and in an afternoon understand what you have, be doing visual analysis, and one question can lead to the next because you can find, let's say I found a segment of 5 million people that behaved a certain way on in the way they interacted with their set-top box. So now I want to see how did their sentiment change in social when their box failed on them, right? And so I can do that now just by sort of Platfora saying I want to bring in another perspective. Platfora knows how to drive Hadoop like a work engine to refine in memory what you have, all simplified from the user's perspective. They're not seeing all the machinery behind this, but all they know is they decide they want to change their lens, their perspective into the data lake. In the background, it takes 5-10 minutes of crunching away, driving Hadoop, and then everything's back to super sub-second response, visual, and they can be now answering the next class of question. No IT involved, and that's a whole different experience.
So, I think we spoke in New York.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So the one thing that we kept hearing there, and we're still hearing, is Apache Spark.
Yeah. So
is this like a new thing, or is it like something that's real? What's your?
No, we're a big fan of Spark, and in fact, in October at Hadoop World, I had a keynote, and we talked about how we're leaning in on Spark, the next generation of data preparation. We're leveraging Spark under the covers. You can take anything you build in Spark, machine learning, graph analysis, new libraries, and drop them in as building blocks in Platfora in a way that you can now extend the capabilities of the product with, and take the work of your data scientists and bring that into the mix. So we think Spark is a great thing. Now, 2 things. One is what Spark does do is it provides a much better API, a better metaphor for programming big data than the old MapReduce stuff. You can build pipelines, you can connect these things much more seamlessly. It's much easier and cleaner. It's also kind of vendor agnostic in a way that gets away from a bunch of proprietary attempts of building kind of SQL on Hadoop and a bunch of things that different religions around these half-baked engines. And here we have something that's sort of built for, it's still early, but it's built in a way that everyone can invest in, and that's exciting. And so we think it really is the future, that this is going to replace MapReduce entirely. Now, at the same time, a lot of people have got like any new thing, they're suddenly overexcited. They think suddenly it makes every query real time. It makes everything instant and magical. And still there's a lot of places where Spark is going to take a couple of years to really grow up, and we're incorporating it into our product in a way that reflects where we think it's mature enough, in a way that our customers just know they're kind of future-proof, that we'll use it, we'll allow extensibility, it's going to be used in intelligent ways, but they're never going to be dying on the bleeding edge because we stuck something in that wasn't ready for prime time.
Excellent. Yeah. Ben, as always, it's enjoyable having a conversation with you, and we look forward to seeing you in London or New York.
Indeed. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.